Hey guys, and welcome to my quick guide to One Piece Treasure Cruise. I thought this would be good to start with, seeing as a lot of my viewers might be confused on what the hell is happening once I actually start uploading content about this game. And yeah, you can treat this video as a nice introduction to the game, and it'll be aimed generally at newer players or those who aren't super experienced. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of the major mechanics and like what actually is the point. So if any of this seems interesting to you, you might want to try it out. And no, before I get started, this is not an ad. I just really enjoy One Piece and this game. And yeah, I do plan on uploading more content about this in the future. So if you want to keep up with that, highly recommend sticking through this video. Now, what is One Piece Treasure Cruise all about? It's a gacha game, which means there's a vast array of characters in which you can pull or summon for, as well as many characters that are farmable. As you'd expect in these kind of games, there are tons of top tier, super strong ones that are exclusive to pulls, and most people call them legends. The goal of OPTC is to just keep getting more characters and upgrading them to their max potential. But for gameplay, it's a team-building, turn-based tap timing game. So you build a team using different characters that have synergy with each other, and it's turn-based, so you have to manage turns, but you also have to tap your characters at the correct times to deal optimal damage. As for the characters in the game, there are 5 different colors or types of units: Strength, Dex, Quick, Psi, and Int. They follow a Pokemon-esque type effective system. For example, a quick unit would be type effective against strength enemies, and it works vice versa. A strength unit will be less effective against a quick enemy. Characters also have classes that they belong to, which is how they synergize with each other. Currently, there's 8 classes, and they range from like slashers to shooters to powerhouse and so on. And basically, all team building relies on these very basic principles of colors, types, and classes. And before we go any further, I think describing core game mechanics during play will help you not be confused later in this video. First, let's talk about the team itself. The top 2 units are your captains. The one on your right is your captain, and the one on the left is your friend/helper captain. It's essentially someone else's unit you've chosen to use for the run. The bottom 4 are your crewmates or sailors, most commonly called subs in this game. Now, all units have a captain ability, which is active when they are captain, with some being much better than others. And every character also has a special ability that can do all sorts of effects, such as boosting damage, removing certain effects, removing debuffs, applying debuffs, and so on. There's so much to this game. And yeah, you have to make a team that can deal with everything the enemies throw at you through the stages, while also doing enough damage. It doesn't end there though, because as you can see, there are orbs on your characters. I'm going to keep it real basic here. It gets way more in depth the more you play, but essentially, if you have an orb in your slot the same color as your unit, it'll be counted as matching, or also sometimes called beneficial. A matching orb is easy to spot because it'll be glowing, and it'll make your unit deal 2 times more damage. Looking at the type effectiveness chart, if you have a character with an orb that is not effective against that color, it'll be counted as negative, and you'll deal half damage with that unit. For example, a strength unit having a quick orb would be considered negative under normal circumstances. And you can also have a neutral orb, which just means 1 times attack, no difference. And there are so many types of orbs in the game, but the normal ones are all the colors: tandem orbs, which is normally a neutral orb, and recovery orbs, which if you hit a good or a great with your character, you can heal your team. There are certain effects to manipulate orbs, like making certain ones beneficial when they usually wouldn't, or switching them to different ones. Again, there's a lot of nuance with this, and there's tons of orbs I didn't cover, but that should be enough to get started and have a basic understanding. Later on, if I do actually continue making videos for this game, which I hope so, I can definitely zone in on mechanics and go into them deeper. Regardless, now that you guys know those things, let's take a look at a single character in the game to peek at how these mechanics all come together. And let's go with Legend Nico Robin. A very popular and important character to the world of One Piece, but here she's going to be used as a demonstration. You can see her classes are Cerebral and Fighter in the top left, and her typing is Int, as you can see on her character icon. So firstly, her special ability, right here, blocks all damage for 1 turn. Pretty amazing stuff, but it also doubles Cerebral character's attack for 2 turns. So you can see already that you'd probably want to primarily use Cerebral units in a team with her, as only Cerebral units will be boosted by this special. It also changes adjacent character slots to recovery orbs, which is pretty useful, and you'll see why when you see her captain ability, because she's actually a very nice captain in the game. So anyway, when you build a team or a crew, you have to select a captain in this slot that says captain. Very straightforward. And let me pick my Robin. So she'll be the captain for this team, and this is where the captain ability comes in. It can kind of be seen as like a passive as long as the character is the captain. So looking at Robin again, her captain ability boosts Cerebral character's attack by 3.75, recovery by 1.5 times. Essentially the game's healing system. More recovery is more healing. She also makes Cerebral characters' recovery slots have matching slot effects, which means anytime a Cerebral unit has a recovery orb, it will now be matching and 2 times damage. So that's pretty good. An extra orb that could be considered good. And she also further reduces damage taken by 20%. So, as you can tell, she can make very tanky teams that can heal a lot, whilst having pretty good damage and some matching orbs. This is a very basic captain ability too in this game. So you see a lot's going on, and just knowing how all of the different captain abilities and special abilities work with each other with the countless characters in this game is part of the learning process, and it'll just come naturally when you play. And knowing what's good is another issue when you first start, and a lot of that you can just ask people in the community, or you'll kind of just know as time goes on. Now, for progressing in this game, like why even play, you level up your characters in many different ways. So the base one is just leveling up the base level right here, level max out of max level 99. So you just feed XP items and stuff and level it up, which increases the stats, HP, attack, recovery. And another important stat on characters is the special level down here. So you can see it's level max, 14 turns. So it starts at level 1, so it took me 5 level ups to max it out. And this can be leveled by feeding skill books or manuals, or even duplicates of the same character with the same special. And it is an RNG system, unless you're using a guaranteed skill up. And getting your special ability leveled up reduces its special cooldown, which means how many turns you have to wait for it to be ready during a fight. The lower, the better. It means less stalling, your team will be safer and more reliable. So a lot of the gameplay is farming these skill books or extra copies of units to max out their special and other abilities. And there's much more, but a lot of it can be learned through play, so I'll kind of go fast here. Each character also has sockets right here, these 5 icons, and each of these give like passives, and all of your socket abilities add up from all the characters on your team. And some examples are this one. It just adds bind resistance, so anytime your team is binded, it reduces by 3 turns if you maxed it out. This is another good one, auto heal, so you can just get healing after every single turn, every turn. And you can gain sockets by feeding dupes of the same character, or even the same character as a whole. For example, I can feed this Robin completely different Robin characters, and she'll gain a socket. So that sometimes might be useful. There might be like a free-to-play option to farm for sockets, but most of the time you're going to level it up with a socket book, which can work for any character. So the last thing I want to talk about upgrading characters is the limit break system, these 3 icons above the sockets. So limit break is a thing that you can do to a character once it reaches max level, and it's just another tree of upgrades that you can work towards. It does take a lot of materials, and it's not super early game stuff, but you do unlock these potential abilities as well, or sometimes called limit break abilities, which can do all sorts of effect, like damage reduction, add critical damage, increase damage when you take damage. Yeah, there's a lot of different abilities. So as you can see, there is so many different ways you can actually level up your characters. And that is the primary gameplay in this game. There's hundreds, thousands of characters even. Now that you know about some of the basic mechanics and how an example character can work, let's give a quick snippet of actual gameplay on a raid boss so you can get a better feel for how One Piece Treasure Cruise works. So this island that I'm taking on is Raid Ace. And here's a mini boss, Whitebeard. And out of my available specials on the team, I use Luffy to boost my orbs and chain to deal enough damage. I also use my Whitebeard mainly for his damage reduction, because after I clear this stage, I'll be dealt 18,000 damage and I won't be able to survive that. And then I tap my characters, and tapping the next one when the text reaches the middle to hit perfects. A lot easier to understand when you actually do it, but after Whitebeard is defeated, go to the final stage, which is the boss, Ace himself, and he'll preemptively do a few things. He'll give me a burn debuff, which means I get damaged when I hit perfects. You don't want that. Perfects are where a lot of the damage comes from. So I use this Christmas Nami unit to get rid of that. And I also use one of my Soba Mask specials to boost my cruise attack and give myself a full board of matching orbs. I could do more, but this stage actually limits my specials to 2 per turn, another debuff. So with all that, I attack, and I can easily do enough damage. This team is pretty overkill. And after the burst turn, he actually does revive, but it's a quick finish from there, not very difficult. So completing the raid gives me a copy of the Ace unit, the free-to-play Raid Ace, which I can level up from more copies. And he's a pretty solid character. So essentially, what I would be doing is making a team that works for this. Yeah, just keep farming until I max him out, so that I can use him in future content. I know this small snippet was very simple, but you can see several different things going on. I was using characters to boost my damage. I was using characters to get around damage I would be receiving. I got rid of some debuffs, and I actually had to hit my perfects. And yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more different debuffs and scenarios in the game. It's practically endless. Now, I know this video is already super long for being a quick guide, but there's a couple things I still need to talk about. So retracing a bit, there are like a couple like game modes in this game, I suppose, where most of your time spent grinding is going to take place. So first of all, there's the story mode right here, the main story, which obviously follows the story of One Piece and provides a lot of free gems, the premium currency. Once you complete the story mode, you really don't have to go back there unless there's like a special event or something. And then there's also event right here, which hosts all of the raids, coliseums, challenges, power-up missions, you name it. You're going to spend most of your time in here, and you can see there's a lot going on already. You're going to be farming new characters and maxing them out, along with taking on new content. Then there is Treasure Map right here, which is normally once a month or so. That lasts a few days, where you fight bosses using teams that give X amount of points per run. Certain characters give more points, and it's all competitive. You get rewards based on your personal points and how you rank with other players. It's the primary way you're going to get the materials to limit break characters, and most players find it super grindy and not very fun. I don't personally like it. It definitely needs work, but you usually get a very good free-to-play unit. And you also get access to like the entire backlog of the older treasure map characters, as you can see, and throughout the game you can get currency to buy them. So definitely important as a new player, but yeah, it definitely needs work. Moving on from that, we have Kizuna, which is another usually monthly event where you fight 3 variations of a boss with different mechanics that ramp up in difficulty as you beat it. The more you beat it, the more tickets you get, and then you can use those tickets to get rewards, and you generally get some of the best free-to-play farmable characters in the game from this. But some of them take a long time to max, sometimes multiple Kizunas. This is also a very good way of obtaining tons of resources, such as tablets. Personally, I really enjoy this mode, as it's a lot less grindy than Treasure Map, and yeah, I just like it more. And finally down here, there's a blocked out game mode. This is actually PvP. It is on the Japan version. It's not yet out on global, but will be soon. And it adds like a whole new dimension to the game. So pretty exciting stuff. And before we end, I may as well mention the main account stuff. at the top of the screen. So top left, we have your money or berries. This will be used to level up units, limit break, so on. And then you have your pirate level, which, yeah, it's basically your account level. Higher means a bigger stamina pool to use on missions, because you do use stamina to complete missions. It is one of those games. And with a higher pirate level, you can technically bring, like, more stronger characters on your actual crew. Like, at the start, you will be limited. And finally, the top right is your rainbow gems, which is the premium currency of the game. I mean, it is a mobile game, so you can already expect some aspects are definitely pay to win. But I'd say out of all of the, like, you know, mobile games I have played and stuff like that, it is definitely free to play friendly. It's not perfect, but if you play enough and save your gems for good banners and summon smart, you can definitely do well and have a lot of fun with this game without spending anything. So yeah, with all of that, hopefully I did hit most, if not all, of the major mechanics of the game. Some of it you're just going to learn as you play, but I'll be honest, I actually find the team building aspect one of the best parts of the game, because it's all about planning. There's such a learning curve when it comes to understanding each and every one of its characters, and it's something you can honestly get lost in for hours, like literally hours. There is no one team that can beat everything. Every unit has its strength and weakness, and I really enjoy that kind of game, so this is perfect for me. So much nuance. It's almost endless in a way. It is, you can argue this game is definitely super grindy and somewhat repetitive, but there's constant new stuff and always things to be excited about, at least in my opinion. And all things considered, I definitely say it's worth trying, at least. And it's definitely a bonus if you're interested or like One Piece too, because you get to use your favorite characters. And yes, if you haven't seen or read One Piece, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic story with so many amazing characters, which makes this a perfect type of game for the series. So there you have it. You can get One Piece Treasure Cruise on Android and iOS. I personally play it on an Android emulator for PC BlueStacks, just because I'm used to that kind of thing. Coming from an RS background, I like my mouse. But yeah, if any of this video, if you made it to the end, if you did, it's probably an obvious answer, but if any of this sounded interesting or even fun, I'd highly recommend trying it out. I think there's a lot of good overlap between this and RuneScape. Both are grinding games, both are all about progression, and this is a game you don't necessarily have to play 14 billion hours a day to keep up. Your first bout with it, definitely get really grindy, but you can get to a point where you're caught up and you're just playing the new content. But yeah, going from here, I'm going to try to make frequent videos on this game, such as guides, pull videos when there's a good banner. I actually have a pull video recorded from a few days ago of a really good banner, and I'll probably upload it a day or two after this. Like, if you have no idea what's going on, it's probably not going to be interesting, but I think it'd be a good start to those kind of videos for me. And yeah, I can make a bunch of videos surrounding news, because there's a lot, and it's all super exciting for me. It really is. But yeah, I think I can do well in this game for content creation, because I feel like I'm really into it, and I love exploring all of its like many mechanics and spending a lot of time on it. And I've already been streaming it heaps over on Twitch, so if you want to see me play the game or ask some questions, you should definitely drop by sometime and come watch. You can always, again, ask questions if you're new or that sort of thing. We don't necessarily have to talk about this either, you know, it's a pretty chill environment. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed and hope you learned something. Again, this video is geared towards newer or very inexperienced players, so very basic stuff. But yeah, let me know any other type of mechanics or guides you'd like to see me make in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.